Hey guys, my name is Vanessa and I'm an alcoholic. My sobriety date's October 8th, 2017, and today I want to talk about my new car. So I finally got a new car, and it's kind of a big deal. So if you've seen any of my other videos, you know that I have multiple DUIs, and in addition to that, there were numerous times where I just hadn't gotten caught, but I had crashed my vehicle, I had run into something, all this stuff. I had crashed many vehicles actually. And by the grace of God, I somehow got my last car, which was a 2007 Volkswagen Beetle. I got it in 2013. I was still living up in the Inland Empire area, and I was doing property management, so I was like desperate for a car. And I had really crap credit because I was an alcoholic and I could not pay any of my bills. And so there was nobody that was going to lend me money to get a car. And my dad and I, God bless my father and his patience, because he drove me around to so many dealerships just trying to find somebody that would give me a break. And a lot of them said no. And finally, we went to this one place and they were able to approve me. And they had two cars on the lot that I qualified for. And one of them was a Nissan Altima with like a crap ton of miles on it. And I was like, that's a hard pass. No. And then the other one was this Beetle, which had like 30 or 40,000. No, actually, I think it was like 40,000 miles. And it was cute, hello, and it was a stick shift. And I was like, sure, I'll take it. And so I got it. And I drove that little sucker like to the ground, basically. By the time I was done with it, it had 160,000 miles. And that's in the course of 6 years. No, I'm sorry. I got it in 2014. So in the course of 5 years. And that's Timber. Hi, Timber. And I love that car. I took it everywhere, right? But this car was also super important to me because I moved down to San Diego in this car. I packed it full of all my junk and moved down here. I had gotten arrested in it a couple of times. One for there was a period when I moved down to San Diego that I didn't have stable housing, so I was living in motel rooms and sleeping in my car. Well, sleeping in your car is against the law in San Diego. It's like illegal to be poor here, basically. And so I got arrested, and they, I remember so clearly that a guy who was arresting me was a total jerk, but his partner was super kind, and he was like, don't impound her car, don't impound her car. And they went back and forth, and they ended up not impounding my car. Thank you, God, because otherwise I couldn't afford it. I was already sleeping in my car. I couldn't afford to get it out, for God's sakes. And I spent the night in jail. I missed work, and I was super stressed because I was like, how am I ever going to catch up on anything if I lose this job? And at the end of everything, I didn't end up getting charged with anything, which was even more annoying in a way, but also very grateful for it. And I just had to explain. I was super embarrassed and had to explain to the people at work, or my boss, why I wasn't at work. Oh, I got arrested for sleeping in my car because guess what? Your employee's homeless. And I had to let my parents know, which of course worried them. Why wouldn't they be worried? They thought that I was safe and comfortable, and here I was spending a night in jail. So that all happened in it. And then, of course, I got my third DUI in it, and that was in La Jolla. And, the poor car, I was just, I got that. It did get impounded that time. And that was just probably one of the most life-changing moments that I've ever had in my entire life was that DUI. And then after that, and after rehab and start doing my DUI program and everything, I really started taking better care of my car, and that made me more aware of all of the defects of it. So, like the headlights would always fall out. I literally had duct tape on them to keep them in because I'd be driving and then I'd just hear like this clunk, and I'd look in my rear view mirror and like, oh hey, my headlight's on the freeway, and I would see the cars like dodging to miss it, and I was just like, this is a terrible feeling. And then of course like the tires and all that. And then so the windows would get stuck sometimes too. So I spent during my drinking days, I spent like an entire summer and winter with the window stuck like halfway down, and like you just couldn't, it wouldn't go up or down. It was off the track, and it was like $400 to get the door fixed. My dad and I had actually fixed it a couple of times, and it's super labor intensive. You have to like remove the whole panel, blah blah blah, and I didn't have the money to get it fixed, and I didn't want to waste my dad's time fixing it again. I just hated my car. I resented it. I didn't want to take care of it because it was falling apart all the time. And I just drove around that entire summer and winter with sweating because it was freaking hot, and then like drenched because it was raining, and it was not a good time. Um, then so fast forward, and then it had like the clutch went out on it, and like lately the transmission started making sounds, and I was like, oh god. I asked my mechanic. He's like, yeah, it sounds like the transmission's on its way out. I was like, great, cool. And I have the best mechanic in the world, by the way. He was super helpful and like kind to me bringing in the car. He did say my car was possessed and I should drive it over a cliff. But this car was very special to me, and it's had a lot of good and bad memories in it. Because also in that car is where I got sober. That car is it's all the driving to the meetings. It was taking people to meetings. It was meeting with my sponsees. It was, crying my eyes out. It was singing at the top of my lungs because I just had from like joy, or just like because I was like angry and sad. Um, there's just so much that happened in that car, and like if you know me, like I love to drive. Like I just love that. And when I had that privilege taken away from me, it was really depressing, because to me, to be on the road is to have freedom, and I love that. And that car gave me that opportunity to do that. And so I would take like little road trips and all this and that. I took that thing everywhere. And finally, the last straw was I got sick a couple of weeks ago. I got a really bad cold and I had a fever, and I just felt miserable, and I had committed to leading a meeting, and it was like down in La Mesa, which is not super close to me. So I had to drive on the freeway. It was raining and it was freezing, and it was just rain hitting the side of my face, basically. So I showed up to the meeting. I was like drenched. I was cold. I was hot. I did not feel good. I couldn't breathe. And basically on my drive home, I was just like, I think this is old. I think this was okay when I was drinking and I didn't care about myself or my car, or, driving around with duct tape on it. But I think I'm ready for a new phase in my life. And I think that includes driving a car that isn't kind of like embarrassing. So I went, and the very next day actually was Memorial Day weekend. And I went to a car dealership, and I saw the car that I had wanted, like that had been like the car that if I could have, besides a Subaru, I really would have wanted a Subaru, but this was like right next to what I wanted. So I saw the car, and it was a Mazda, and it was in the price range. Like everything was just like boom, 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 super smooth, and like everything went so well. And I was like, kind of like scared of that. I got fearful of that, and I had heard like awful stories about people saying that they had gotten approved for a car, they've driven it off the lot, and then a week later they come and take it away because, hey, the loan didn't go through. Well, I have personally been working on my credit for like a year and a half since I got sober. And I've been paying off all these bills, my financial amends, making sure that everything's paid on time, being super careful with my money as much as I can be, because I'm still not perfect in that way. But a lot more careful than I'd ever been in the past. And, I qualified for a loan and all this stuff, and it was just, everything was just so like smooth and like flawless. And I remember like a week after I got the car, I got a call from the loan servicer, and I was like, oh no, they're going to tell me this is it. This is the moment when they tell me that the loan didn't go through. And they were calling to just verify my contact information. They're like, okay, welcome to Capital One. Let us know if you have any questions. I was like, what? And, like, it was just such a new feeling of like not having to worry now when I drive. And I love my car, my new car. I still have my old one. So the other thing is, I'm having a hard time letting go of the old one, which sounds psychotic, I know. But one, I can't sell it because it's got so many damn problems with it, including this whole, like, it's like a $2,000 oil thing that needs to be done, which I have just been driving around with leaking oil. But then in addition to that, all like the light issues, the electrical issues, the transmission's on its way out. So I'm like, I can't sell it to anybody and have a good conscience about it. So I'm just going to I have to find somewhere to donate it to or something. But anyway, I just wanted to kind of share that experience with my car. I don't know if anybody's ever experienced something like that, where you just have like the sentimental attachments to a vehicle. Like, I'm not even a huge like not only not a car person, but like material things. Like I don't attach tons of sentimental value to that stuff. But like this car, it was just like my heart is in it. I feel so like sad to see it go. But I kind of feel like this is marking the end of one era, and now I'm starting on a new one just because I got a new car, I guess. I don't know. All right, sorry for this long drawn out story. Thanks for watching. Bye.